What's up, everybody? It's Kenny from MagChop, number 18. Here it is. We're chopping it up.
Attention, attention, attention. The Godfather of
Chopping it up. It's been a while since my last show. Today's shirt is the Miami Riders shirt. You definitely want to pick one of these up. If not, the 15-ounce mug collection. Get yourself one of these beautiful Real Passion mugs. So if you're a fisherman, into fishing, a boater, if you're into all of that, this is the mug for you. This is a real beautiful, cool design. I've always been very proud of this design. So make sure you go pick one up. Go to magchop.com. Get yourself some of this beautiful merchandise. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about the MagChop origin stories. A lot of people have asked me about them. People are questioning a lot about MagChop. Some people treat me as if I'm the first person that they've ever seen do collage art. So I wanted to clear some things up. First of all, let me explain to you what collage art is. Collage art is taking different things, whether it's magazines, clippings, pictures, products, whatever. You put them together on one canvas to create a whole new canvas. So when it comes to copyright infringements and things like that, which is what I always often get when people are like, oh my God, you know, are you copying? Are you violating copyright? I'm not violating any copyright because of the fact that all the pieces together now represent one new piece. That's what collage art is. Collage art is actually a very difficult medium to capture and is one of the most popular mediums around the world. It's not the biggest doesn't carry the biggest popularity in the United States of America, making it one of the hardest mediums to sell in America. So I really went on a limb here, creating a business around it. But how it came to be was, when I lost my mother, I lost something else too. I lost a piece of me. I lost the ability to just sit down and draw things the way I used to. And this is what started my collage art journey. Now, the first piece I had done was actually out of photos. It was a family piece from all the lowrider shows we were doing. My brother and sister competed in lowriders as well as I did. They had lowrider bikes. I had my Regal, and so I had my car club and everything like that. So the first piece I actually had done was basically, it's not available. Nobody's ever seen it, but it does hang in my house, and it's just a bunch of stuff, and it's got like me and my family in the middle of it. And then the next one I did is the one behind me, and how that one came to be was I actually had thrown away my wife's Cosmopolitan collection, not realizing that she was collecting them the way I was collecting my lowriders, because we were getting ready to get into our house. We just closed on our house and everything. We were trying to clean up as much out of the apartment as possible to, you know, carry as little bit here as possible. What ended up happening was she was not too thrilled about it, and she said, well, you know, if we're throwing magazines out, then let's get rid of your collection, my lowrider collection. So I said, okay, well, let me spend some time with them so I can get everything out of them that's going to basically tell a story about who I am, what I'm into, what I like, stories, aspects of my life. The piece that I created is the one that's right behind me, called First Impression. You can see part of it, a big part of it, 9 foot by 5 foot, huge, in downtown Fort Lauderdale, the 00 station on the wall. Beautiful. I'm always excited about that. So anyway, so I spent 4.5 months, every day for 4.5 months, going through each magazine, picking out different images that I felt would tell a story of who I am as a person, as an artist, as a lowrider, as a former graffiti artist, former gang member, everything like that. I really wanted to tell that story, and I did. And after my mother had passed away, now remember, this piece was created 5 years before any of the other ones. And after my mother passed away, I was sitting in my art room and I was trying to get some stuff done, and I was telling my wife, I'm really struggling. I can't seem to draw like I used to anymore. I can't get anything down on paper the way it was. And so she said, well, maybe if you make another collage, it'll help spark that. It'll help bring it back. So I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, for the next 1.5 years, when I tell you, and these pieces take, you know, 3 to 4 months to put together. One of them took Ladies Touch took 7 months. Awake took 5 months, and there was one of them that took a year. It's not even in the collection. It took a year to make it, and I gave it to a friend of mine as a gift. The original, and it's beautifully framed and everything. It's called Pinnacle, the name of that piece. So anyway, so I started creating these pieces, and every now and then, if my family liked them, if the kids and my wife liked them, we'd frame it and hang it up. So I hung a few of them up. My wife's friend ended up marrying the founder of Guy Harvey, Steve Stock. And we'd gone to their house for a potluck, and my wife makes these killer empanadas. I mean, man, they're phenomenal. And so he holds up the empanada and he says, whoever made these empanadas, I'm coming to your house next Thursday and I'm gonna have dinner with you. And let me tell you, he was a man of his word. He showed up at our house that Thursday, ready for dinner. We had it all ready, you know. And as we're sitting there having this conversation, I'm talking to him, but I keep seeing him do this. Now, if you're having a conversation with them and they're doing that to you, you're going to turn around, and that's what I did. Now, the fear that I had was that there was a spider or some lizard or some wacky thing walking on my wall. I don't have, like, the regular problems that normal people, like, have, like, the little roaches or ants. No, I get wolf spiders. I get lizards. We had a baby alligator in the house somehow one time. It fought the cat. It was a disaster. So these are the things that I've seen. So I can only imagine. So I turn around and I look, and there's a piece of my art there. The actual piece was called La Vida. And I just kind of looked at him like with that, what are you looking at look, you know? And he says, I'm listening to you, but man, where did you get that piece of art? And I was like, I made that. And he's like, you made that? I was like, yeah. He's like, where the rest of them? Want to see them all? And I'm telling you, it's not like we had a discussion about this stuff. So I sat back and I was like, well, wait, what makes you think there's more? And he says, because nobody does that once. And I said, yeah, actually, I just started doing them about a year ago. I won from a few years ago, but, you know, he's like, can I see them? I said, yeah. So I had like 3 of them hanging in the house. There was 6 of them at the time. 3 of them were hanging up, and the rest of them the other 3 were sitting there, and I think I had 1 that was in the making. And so we walked around looking at him. He says, man, this is amazing. And he says, you know, have you ever thought about showing the world your art? And I was like, well, no, not really. I haven't. You know, and I said, no one's really going to like this. And he's like, yes, they will. And he says, do you know who I am? And I knew he had done something for Guy Harvey, but I didn't know what. So, you know, here I am, and he's like, do you know who I am? This guy's a big dude. He's like 6'3", you know what I mean? Kind of big dude. And I was like, you know who I am, fool? You know? But I said, I know you work for Guy Harvey or something like that. And he laughs and he says, Guy Harvey, I don't work for Guy Harvey. Guy Harvey works for me. And he says, do you know that he's the world's most renowned nautical artist? And I was like, yeah, actually, I do know that. You know, I actually respect his art a lot. And he says, well, in order for him to become the world's most renowned artist, I had to go around the world and sell his art. And in doing that, I've seen collage art in every continent. And all the continents I've been on, I've never seen it done this way. And I was like, really? He's like, yes, this is really great work. And I really think the world should see it. And he says, in fact, I'll tell you what. If you decide to go into business with your artwork, I will assist you and I will give you the people who produce stuff for Guy Harvey so that you not only produce nice products, but they're quality products. Because you want to know that whatever you come out with, it's got to be quality. Now, I had just had my first interview at another company, which I was super excited about because it was a very lucrative position. And so I was like, well, I just landed this position, so I really don't see myself going in the art world. I had worked for American Royal Arts, and I saw the amount of rigorous sales that were needed to be able to keep that going. And I just didn't think that the artwork, plus, you know, the starving artist mantra, I just didn't want to be a part of that. And that was where I left it. I go to the second interview, and for those of you who don't know, I have some serious charges that were on my record. It was a mistaken identity, went through trial, everything, right? Lost 2 years of my life for this whole fiasco. And I go to the second interview, and the lady is sitting there. Now, the first interview, I was basically told that, you know, I got the job, they love me, they come in for the next interview, you're going to meet the whole team, the owners, the HR department, some other people. I'm like, all right. So I walk into this interview all excited, like, yeah. And I'm like, good morning, how are you? Now, picture, I walk in the office, there's a desk, there's a nice office, but there's another door behind the desk, which tells me there must be like a little hallway back there. It must be where the rest of the corporate people are. So I walk in, and lady's sitting there, she's a little serious, and I said, good morning, how are you? And she said, I'm doing well, can you shut the door? I was like, okay. Now, by her demeanor, I knew right away, she's trying to play the tough role. So I put my game face back on. You know, I said, she could see she's holding my resume. I said, do you have any questions about my resume? She says, no, your resume is impressive, and, you know, but it's unfortunate that we can't hire you. And I said, well, I'm a little shocked because last week everybody loved me. I was under the impression we're meeting a team today. And she says, no, you're just meeting me because we're not going to hire you. And I said, well, why not? What happened? And she says, well, you know, I do risk assessment and risk analysis, and based on your criminal record and your arrest record, we can't hire you. And I said, ma'am, with all due respect, if you did your job properly, you would have seen that I was found not guilty of all charges. This woman put my resume down and said, so was OJ. So was OJ. I was so angry that I could not be angry at that moment. I just smiled and said, you have a nice day, and I got up and I walked right out of the office. That was the beginning of MagChop, right there. I went downstairs, I called my wife, and I said, I'm never going through that humiliation again. We're gonna struggle. There's got some jerk. We're gonna struggle. But I'm never going through that again. I'm gonna start my company. I called Steve, came up with the name MagChop. How did the name MagChop come up? A lot of people don't like to hear this, but it's how I create my art. I chop up magazines, hence the name MagChop. So this is the origin of MagChop. This is what I've gone through to create the business I've created. Does it bother me sometimes when I get these comments of people that, you know, I had a girl recently tell me, I don't get it. What do? You chop up magazines and then sell it? I don't get it. And I was like, well, it sounds like you got it, but you know, I guess you're having trouble processing it. And she went on to try to compare it to her scrapbooking. and then, you know, I've had people. I had one guy actually. You know, he was telling me how his 6-year-old could do this, and I told him, I said, well, I'd love to collaborate with your 6-year-old, because I don't bother with the people who like to be condescending or insulting because they don't understand what I do. He ended up calling me 6 months later, bought a piece, and said, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. We've been working on this thing, and it looks nothing like yours. But this is what I go through as an artist, as an entrepreneur. These are the things I deal with: coming up with new products, coming up with new ideas, coming up with new artwork, coming up with new themes. A lot of my artwork is lowrider themed. I'm a lowrider. It's what I build. It's what I collected. So, what the majority of my magazines carried. Now you have pieces, of course, now like Real Passion, right? I have Iron Freedom, I have Awake, I have Pinnacle, I have pieces that have nothing to do with lowriding, but for some reason a lot of people, they can't see past it. Even Dark Side. Now, is there something lowriding hidden in every piece? Yes, there is. There is always something little lowriding I put in every piece, and that's what it is. So, I've taken enough of your time. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next week, and listen, we got some cool stuff going on. So start looking forward, because I will be doing an interview with Gank. I'm going up to New York this weekend to be able to. I'm going to be with the king of Techno Cumbia from Ecuador, out in New York. Really excited about that. So come on, if you're in New York, check out the flyer. Go on my Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you need to be following me at MagChop. Go to Instagram. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in New York.